We're going to do a couple of minutes of waiting to get everyone a chance to join, and once that time goes by, I'll get started. In the meantime, thank you so much for taking the time to hear about RightPick, and we'll be doing a quick overview and demonstration on how it works on Power BI. All right, let's get started. And as I was saying, we're going to go through a demonstration of RightPick for Power BI, where we can see how it works with your data. So essentially, RightPick is a no-code custom visual that will allow you to input data through your Power BI reports. My name is Bruno. I'll be doing the demonstration today. And if during this webinar you have any questions, feel free to place them in the chat. Or if anything else comes up later, feel free to reach out to our support team as well. RightPick is one of our three existing products. So RightPick for Power BI. We also have RightPick for Tableau. Actually, that's how we started. We started as a Tableau extension. We've been in the market for a few years now. And now we decided to bring that knowledge and that same product to Power BI. So this means that even though RightPick in itself is new on Power BI, it already has quite a lot of features that we developed while working for the Tableau extension. We now bring that into the Power BI context, of course, with the necessary adjustments to work with within the Power BI environment with all the type of configurations that Power BI has. And essentially, this gives us the ability now to easily develop new features that will be developed to the two products at the same time, making sure that you always get the same functionality across the RightPick products. And usually we start by trying to understand what is RightPick. Why do we need it, and why did we create RightPick in the first place? So we started with looking at the data, right? So that's what you do with tools like Power BI and any other BI tool, but in this context with Power BI, you can build many reports with your data, do your custom queries, your calculations, and address how that's going to be displayed. And that's what Power BI is great at. Of course, it has many more features within the Power Automate Fabric and everything in between that part of the Microsoft products. But the thing here is that if you do require anything outside of what's available, you either have to do custom developing, like if you need users to do forecasting or analysis, commenting even on a report, you would have to do something like a Power App where you have to develop some part of it at least to get it going. And then the idea with WritePack is exactly to do that everything within the same window. So within the report, you have access to your data, but also to the inputs where you're going to enrich your data, modify it, categorize it, whatever it needs that you need, and everything will be integrated with it with the report. So today we're also bringing you the new features. So Power BI, WritePack for Power BI has been available since the beginning of the year, pretty much. We now have some new features that we introduced a couple of weeks ago, including email notifications, a new way to communicate with your team through the reports. So you can easily notify them and then they will get an email with your entries. We also improved our data grid. We now call it Smart Table. That's an input type on WritePack that lets you input multiple rows at the same time across your data. We're going to see all of these in place. And then we have some entries here for the new improvements that are, let's say, minor considering the previous features, but they give us a lot of flexibility as well in configuring WritePack. So let's see the new version of WritePack in action. And just to jump into Tableau, sorry, Power BI, just a second, and there we go. So in here, we have a few use cases that I can use to demonstrate how WritePack works. And starting with the commenting example, which is usually one of the most used cases for WritePack, we can understand how it works on a very simple level. So we have a report in here sorted by or filtered by year and quarter, where we see exactly that being displayed in here. And we can provide an analysis that's like a broad analysis to the quarter, or we can go to the individual orders that took place and comment on them directly. Then over here, we have 3 instances of WritePack. The top 2 are for one particular case and the bottom 2 another case. The add analysis here will pick up what's available from the filters. So as you can see, when I pick it up, it's bringing me the year and the quarter from the splicers over there. And I can provide now an analysis for this quarter. So let's say that we have some major spikes. Let's try to investigate further. So this, of course, is just a simple message, but I can customize it a little bit. We can, because it's just a rich text editor, we can easily customize, provide bullet points if I wanted to. Let's do action points, for example. Action point 1, 2, 3. And then when I do apply and submit, we get it in here. We can see it immediately on WritePack. We can also see it in here now, the 2 entries that are already there. And of course, this is contextual to the whatever you're working with right now. If we want to provide a more specific analysis, we would go to the bottom example down here, where let's say, for example, this entry over here was shipped late. I can click on it. On WritePack, we're going to see that it's going to highlight just that selected mark. There we go. So one selected mark for France in this case, and the other ID would match the selected one. And then I can provide my comment saying, for example, that we need to look into this. I'll define a priority, let's say low or mid for now, and I can notify someone by email. So in this case, I'm going to notify myself. I'll be receiving an email in a second with this information. And now if I refresh the data, I should also have an entry for that particular line. There we go. So now my comments show side by side. And let me just see if I got the email. There we go. I'm just opening it up on another screen. So you can see in here, a specific user mentioned me in the specific data set that I'm working on. And I can see right here the entry that was selected and the comment that the user submitted. Of course, in this case, it's all myself, but if you were working with other people, they would get an email saying that you got no, that user mentioned you in that entry. Oh, by the way, I forgot to make a small a note that I'm using Power BI desktop just because it is easier for me to show around how everything is working together and to show like the calculations and filters. But the same would work across Power BI service. I actually have an example that I'll touch on in a bit regarding that, where we have a version online available for you to use in that context. In here, that's how Writeback typically will look like. You can customize the fields that will go on the form. You can customize the title and what is the data that you're going to be working on. So on the top one, we're working on year and quarter. On here, we're working on individual orders. And on another example over here, for example, we're working on products. It's kind of like a monthly report. So we're working on a particular month of the year. And then we can provide adjustments to the values. So let's go, for example, in here. And if I need to make let's say, a correction, or there's new data that came from a financial report, or any type of information that I can use to correct my data, we can easily select it. And then again, on Writeback, we see that mark is now selected, and I can provide my adjustment. So let's say the sales are actually 300 with a profit of 100, and the quantity was 10. When I do submit this, again, on Writeback, I can always see it immediately. But then over here, I need to trigger a refresh of the data source so I can get the updated information. Of course, you could add a page refresh, or we change detection. I don't actually have these enabled for this particular case, but you can, depending on how frequent you want the data to update, do that. Because you have the refresh button always ready there, you can easily just click it to get the data. Same thing would be on the Power BI service. And that's very straightforward. As you can see, I can easily do this right away over here. Again, as a user, I don't really have to do anything to get this going. Of course, as a developer, and I'll get to that in a second, I'll just show you one last use case, and I'll show you how to configure this. So let me just log in here as well. This is the smart table that I mentioned earlier, where we can use Writeback in a different way. So on the form, we can click one by one, and then the selected mark will get my change or my comment or whatever it is what we are doing. But then if we do want to work with a lot of data at the same time, which is the case in here, I may want to have Writeback set up in a way that I can do that change simultaneously. So I can easily come in here and then make my adjustments across the board. So in this case, I have two numeric fields, a dropdown and a text field that I can work with. So I'll just do a couple of rows in here, and then I can see the changes happening over there as well. So I'm just filling out the table as you typically would fill in here. And then when I do click submit, again, that goes into the write-back table. And then when I refresh, we should see the changes taking place over there. There we go. So now the values are updated. And we can keep working on the next items on the list across the board. We can, of course, use these calculations in any other process. In this case, I'm just essentially either displaying the original value, as you can see in here. There's no write-back value yet for anything in Belgium, for example. And then if there is write-back data, we show that instead, replacing what's there. And we're doing it this way because the way write-back works, and I can give you just a quick look on it. It's something similar to this, where this is a diagram for Tableau, but for Power BI, it would be pretty much the same, where write-back would be writing to your database, but your data warehouse is typically separate. Well, separate in the sense that it's going to be a separate table at least. So write-back never writes to the source data. It's going to create a new table. So when you set it up on the form, on the report, you're going to create a new table effectively in your database that will be used to store the write-back entries. And you can already see this somewhat in here, where this is my source data that contains all the country and product and information that we see in here. But then I created on the write-back connection, this uses the sales and profit ratios table. I created two calculations, and these calculations are being used on this view. So these calculations are nothing more than a sum of values that checks if the write-back value exists. And if it doesn't, it shows the original value. So that's what we see, and how we see the new values in here. To actually set this up, I'll first show you in this simple example over here for the commenting how it is set up. So as a developer, when editing the write-back form, you can use the cogwheel over here to do that configuration. Once you publish it and you're in reading mode, you no longer see it. As if I show you over here on the browser version, I can go into, oh, just a second here. I'll just log in. By the way, this is the username and password for our public demo environment that you can use on your own. I'll show that in a second as well, how you can get it, but those credentials are provided to you to get a quick start on write-back. Of course, on a production environment, you will have write-back integrated with your existing authentication systems, either OAuth or SAML, to get the user authenticated into write-back, as well as the username that they get. So in here, as you can see, I was saying about the cogwheel. Once we are in view mode, so your users that are just viewing the dashboard that don't edit it, they won't be able to make modifications to your configuration. So on desktop, back to it, I can now come in here to modify the configuration as it already exists, or simply show you what I want to show. So in this case, we can have three options for configuring write-back. We have the pop-up form, which is the first example that I showed on the top. Then the inline form, which is the one I'm using over here for commenting, and the smart table that I use to adjust some values on the table. Then over here will show up the fields that you add to the panel over here on the columns. And essentially, these are the fields that will be used for the selections. So when I click on something, that's what we are going to read from the view. And then we also get key fields. So these fields mean that as Rightback writes on a separate table, they're important to be saved, so you can later join the two tables together on the appropriate field. Then over here we have the name of the table that Rightback will create if, for you. So you don't have to do any SQL or any action on the database to create the table. Once you establish the connection between Rightback and the database, you essentially get access to create tables in your database with whatever connection you set up on Rightback. And then in this example, we have two fields. We have the comment and the priority. The comment is a text field. The priority is a drop-down with multiple options down here. And then we can simply select one of the options. We can also make it multi-select. Besides these, we have many other field types like numbers, dates, the rich text we saw in place, as well as the Boolean for true or false values. To actually set it up, I can also show you how it works. So typically, you would either get Rightback from the app source or your organizational visuals, depending on how it is in your organization. But if we go through here, we can look for Rightback, and Rightback should show up in here. There we go. So that's our Rightback that we're showing today. Or if you have a particular file, we can also do it. In this case, it's already imported in my view, but if it's not, you go to the app source, import it through Get More Visuals and import it, and then it will show up in here alongside the other imported visuals. Then just click on it. The first time it's going to show up like this, and that gives me the chance as well to give you what I was talking about, our live demo. So you can easily click on here, and this takes you to our documentation, where you're going to be able to get started on a quick page of our Rightback works on Power BI. We have a short video to show that, and the instructions that you need to connect to it. We even provide a custom PPIX where you can play around already. We have all the details provided in here, so you can easily get started. This, of course, is a public environment, so please use it with caution. Don't submit any sensitive data or any data that could identify you. That being said, if you do want to use it with your own data, you can always go through the app source. So in the app source, you're going to find Rightback over here, where you can get a free trial as well when you buy it. So the first month is free to get you started. But the first way to try it is definitely with our demo environment that you can use through here. This doesn't require you any subscription or anything, and you can play around with the features already. Besides that, we also have the same environment available for Tableau. If you want to take a look on our website, you just click on the live demo button on the top. That will, of course, will take you to a Tableau server, but the functionalities that you will see there are pretty much the same that we are seeing today on Power BI. Back to the dashboard. You start working with Rightback by adding some data over here. So I can, for example, over here, I'm going to use the map. The map is using the country and region. So I'll just bring from my source data the country and region to the columns. And as you can see, this quickly changes to the next set of instructions where we need to provide our site and authentication. So I'll go in here, settings, and I'll choose my site, which in this case, I'm using my site specific for the webinar and my environment. I'll just quickly also do a customization over here. I can remove the title over there so it doesn't show up. And now Writeback is ready to configure. It already picked up my username from before, from the other logins, so I am ready to continue. And now, as you can see, I can choose what type of form I want. So let's say that I want inline form. Then over here, I have the key field that I dragged over there to the panel. And now the rest of the dataset information that I need to provide, like the name of the table that Writeback will create. So let's say that I want to do forecast on country. And then I want to do sales forecast. That would be a number. I also want to do a profit forecast, and also number. And then if I want to say that it's a final version or not, and that's going to be a Boolean field. I can also give a time for when I want that forecast to be applied, for example, if I wanted it in a certain month. So let's do that. And oh, I forgot to give it a name. So date of the forecast. And then I'll give it a type of forecast. If it's going to be, for example, Mystic or pessimistic, and anything else that you may want to use there. For now, I'll just customize this to say add forecast, and I'll just make the text a little bit smaller. I can enable the notifications to notify my users, so I'll do just that. And then after submitting, that effectively creates the table in my database. And now I have the form ready to be used over here. I'll just give it a bit more space so we can see everything. And then I can now work on a country. For Portugal over here, we can see it's selected. And I can provide my adjustments. So let's say I have 50,000 with 20,000 in profit. For now, it's not the final, so I'll just do it false. I want this forecast to be applied, let's say, on the last quarter of the year. So I'll just do for October, and then I'm gonna do an optimistic forecast. And again, I'll notify myself so I can get the information in my email. After I submit, again, that gets written directly to the newly created table. And in here, I'll quickly show you how that table looks like. So I'll just connect to the database again on the new table. But in the meantime, I'm just going to quickly grab the email. Let me check if it is. There we go. I got the email now, and we can see it over here. Exactly what I just submitted. Okay, so for Portugal, 50,000, 20,000, not final yet. The date and the type. Behind the scenes, a new table was created. So let me just over here connect to the table to show you how it looks like. I'm just gonna connect to the database type that I'm using. By the way, we do support multiple database types today with Writeback. Can just quickly show you that as well. On our documentation, you can find all the necessary information for this. But right now, I'll just quickly jump over here, where you can see the technologies that we currently support, including Fabric SQL, if you're already using that within your Fabric capacity. Okay, so over here now I'm connected, and you can see now the new table that I created with my entry for Portugal. So this table didn't exist before I started the demonstration, and now we can see it over here with my entries. So I can just load it. Okay, of course nothing happens yet, but I could now potentially create a new visualization type. So I'll just create like quickly a new table that's going to be like this. That's going to show the country, the forecast and sales type, and if it's a final one. So as you can see, we can quickly build visualizations with the new data created through RightPick. This, of course, doesn't look very good right now. We would have to customize it or make it align with the data that we already have or are already using. But this is just to show you how quickly you can get RightPick data and everything working together with within your Power BI reports. One last thing I wanted to show, it's related to how you initially do the setup. So if you're just going to try our live demo, that's using our public database, right? But if you want to try it for yourself with your own data, you will need to request the trial that I mentioned, and that will give you access to the RightPick manager. So you will have the RightPick manager, which is essentially a tool that you'll have on the browser exactly to configure the database connection. So let me just log in here with my account. And then in here, we can see my site. You will see the information regarding our license. You will be able to customize the database connection, and that's where you're going to set up your technology. It's also where you're going to set up the authentication system, either SAM or OAuth, as I mentioned. In memory is the one available for trials and demonstrations like I'm doing today. But the most important part is essentially setting up the database connection. This is with what will define where RightPick will create the tables. And once you do apply everything, you click in here, and then your site will become available. And with the site information and your instance, you essentially bring it into Power BI to show the information. Oh, sorry. To show the information correctly regarding your site. So that's exactly what I'm doing. After adding the data, I'm now using my site over here. And everything will be done, of course, within my account. All right, so with that out of the way, I pretty much concluded everything I wanted to show regarding RightPick for Power BI. Let me know if you have any questions or anything that may not been particularly clear during the today. And yeah, feel free to go ahead. Seems Kevin over here had some questions. I believe microphones will be enabled so you can ask away.
Hey, perfect. Am I the only one here that's witnessing? I just want to know how respectful I need to be of other people's questions and time.
There's a couple more, but feel free. I think we still have time. It's okay.
Okay, so my first question is, will this write back to like a data mart or a data warehouse in Power BI? Should it write back to anywhere with a SQL endpoint? Is that all I need?
Yeah, so you need a SQL database to write back to, essentially, as long as it is one of the supported technologies that I showed over here.
So I don't think we use like Power BI has SQL endpoints for their data warehouses, and even I think their data marts, but we don't actually use one of those per se. Does that make sense?
Yes, so in that case, you could set up, so the SQL endpoints, yes, we don't write to, because they're more like for analysis purposes. But there's now the new Fabric SQL database that Microsoft released a few months ago. That lets you essentially, within the same context, it's going to be a separate type of connection within your reports, but essentially within the same Fabric account, right? You're going to be able to create like a SQL database at that level.
Okay. Okay. What kind of support do you all provide because we're a fairly small district. We don't have, we're a school district. We're fairly small. We don't have a lot of resources and even lack resources in like trained data people. You know what I mean? We don't have anybody that's been professionally trained on the data management end. So is there do you guys provide support when people are getting set up and running? We do a lot with Power BI and tables in the back end, but again, we kind of lack training in this other area.
So that's the first part of the question is yes. We do have a support team and a service desk where you can open a ticket, request a call with us, for example, and that's included in the price of the product. So the RightBack licensing model is an annual subscription based on the number of users. So in for that context as well, yeah, we can help you do the initial setup, play around with it, and show you how it works and how you can apply it to your data. However, that's exactly where RightBack also comes into play. Typically, anyone that's usually used to using Power BI should be able to use RightBack because it eliminates a lot of steps that you typically have to do with Power Apps, for example. That's why we tried. I mentioned in the beginning the no-code solution to inputting data through the Power BI reports. But yeah, feel free to reach out. That's included with the product. Yeah, when you are both when you're trying, but of course during the lifetime while we're using the product.
Oh, that's perfect. What about data that like it kind of changes frequently? So like if a teacher was taking notes on a student and then that semester the student changed classes, you know what I mean? We don't really want to lose notes on that student, but then there's going to be new students coming into the table. That's not a problem because it's written on a separate table and stored on a separate table, right?
That's right. Yep. The data will never go anywhere, even if it changes on the view. So, for example, in here, that's not a good example, but on the product one over here, I have, not this one, sorry, this one. Over here, I have a lot of products. And if these products change the next month, that's okay, because the entries that I did this month, they're already in the database. They're already in the table. If I need to see them again, I can go back to the filters where those would be displayed. But the data is still there on the RightBack table. We would still be able to connect to the data and see it in there. So that's not a problem. Yeah.
Okay. And from what I'm seeing, when a user logs in, they have to log in twice. Once into Power BI, once into the RightBack. Is that accurate?
Correct. But
Okay.
you're seeing the login over here pop up because I'm using a demonstration user. On a production environment, these would be more automated. If you set up OAuth, it would be completely automatic because it would pick up your Power BI account. If you set up SAML, you just click a button and it automatically authenticates you through the browser.
Okay.
So what you're seeing here is just for trials and demonstrations.
Okay. Perfect. I think those are my questions for now. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Let's see if anyone else wants to ask anything.
Hey, Bruno. This is Mani
Hello.
here. Yes. So thanks for this presentation. It was like a quick refresher for me, like since I'm lately using this tool, right? So one question that when we are developing certain things, I understand the way this tool works. Whenever you are writing something, whatever you are inputting, that information is getting stored in the new data set, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Like, for example, you updated some of the total sales amount for a country or a product. So only that information is getting stored, right? Then behind the scenes, you are using any data model, you are combining the existing data set versus the new data set so that you could see like everything in parallel. Is that what you're doing?
That's what I'm doing in this context. Yes. So I can show you the model over here. So this is my source data that contains all the orders information, all the product information. And these are the respective RightBack tables that I created along the way for the example. So then I have some relationships with them
Right.
to show everything.
Yeah, so that's what I have done as well. But one question is like, let's say as soon as I say, okay, these are the fields that I want in my new data set, and these are my the new fields that I would like to create. Once I do that, right, is there a way that we could automatically move the existing data to the data set without writing anything?
You mean inserting the existing data into the
Yes, so
RightBack
let's say
table?
you have 1,000 rows coming in from the source, right? Like, I may write something or write some comments to only few of the rows, let's say 10 rows. So right now, only the 10 rows are getting stored in the backend, right? Is there a way that the 1,000 gets stored automatically in the destination as well?
Yes, you can do that easily either by selecting all the rows and like you can do, multi-select and select all the rows that you need.
Okay.
But you can also generate a template file. So with a bulk upload, it's this button over here.
Okay.
You can generate a template file. Oh, sorry, I have this disabled for now, but essentially this generates a template file that's going to, let me check if I have that enabled on the web version, just a second, so I can show you. Let's go here. Yeah, over here I have it enabled. So this generates a template file. Just gonna
Okay.
open it up on another screen, just a second. That's going to contain the entries like so. But of course, the values from RightBack, which in this case it's a quantity, profit, and sales are empty. So I can now fill all this information in here. And when I do that, I can then upload the file and it's going to
That's great.
populate everything
Okay.
for the entries in the template.
All right. Yeah, this is helpful, Bruno. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Thank you for your question. All right, something else we get a lot as well with RightBack when users start playing around with it is if there's any limitation on a number of use cases that you can do with RightBack. And the answer to that is no. So you will be able to create as many use cases as you want. So as you saw here, I have 3 pages with RightBack in them, and I can easily play around and create as many as I need. Of course, the RightBack licensing does have a limit, but the limit is only on the number of users. So every user that uses RightBack takes a seat on the license. But other than that, you can build as many cases as you want. And the type of form that you use for RightBack is not really limited by the use case. So it doesn't mean that I created a forecasting example over here with a form. You can, of course, create it with a table. We usually say that RightBack is kind of like a toolbox, and then you apply it to the needs that you have in that context. Okay, we're pretty much at time. I'm just gonna quickly check if there's anything else over here. Let me just take a quick look. Okay, so I'll just end it with the again going through getting a trial. So if you want to try this for yourself with your own data, we can go. You can go to our website. So you go to the products and then RightBack for Power BI. You can start a free trial through here. Again, try our live demo on Tableau or even directly on Power BI with the information that I provided earlier. So over here, go back over here. I believe Anna, my colleague, shared this link already in the chat, but you'll be able to get in here as well to get the PBIX with all the information to work with. Once you do request the trial, you will get access to the RightTech Manager, where you're going to set up the database connection. And from then on, all the information you can also publicly find in our database documentation. We have a very extensive documentation with all the RightTech features. I might add, if you need any help as well, you can also always reach out to our support. Again, through our website. You can reach us out in here or in the chat. With that, I have everything covered. Thank you so much for taking the time to look into RightTech on Power BI. Feel free to reach out anytime after this meeting. If you want to set up a more private talk, we can also do that. Again, thanks for all your questions, and we'll see you around. Have a nice day. Bye.